Now, I just want to give you a very quick example of the kind of stuff that you can do with the metaphors work. A gentleman came to see me. He basically described his situation, and it was quite a complex situation. It involved a lot of other people, primarily at work. There were family pressures. There was all sorts of complex stuff. And I said to him, okay, rather than getting into all the bits and bobs and all the detail about what's going on, how about you summarize it in one very simple format? Just tell me what it's like. So by asking what it's like, it's one thing explained through the language of something else, like a metaphor. So this whole big picture, the whole sorry saga for you, what's it like? He thought about it for a while and he said, well, what it's like is, it's like I'm a puppet. Now, that's all the information that I need. It's like I'm a puppet. The first thing that I know from that is that that's an identity statement. I am a puppet. I also know it's not true. The guy isn't a puppet. He's a fully grown adult. But we'll leave that one aside for the time being. So he's a puppet. So I pull out one of these. There's all sorts of props that I have in my office that I have ready because there's just certain patterns and themes that come out quite often. So now here is what I can deduce about a guy who's a puppet, or it's like he's a puppet. He's got some support. In fact, he's got a lot of support, but there's strings attached. There's strings attached to the support he receives. He probably isn't down to earth. He's probably kept suspended. He's kept in suspense. He spends a lot of time hanging around. Possibly there's people pulling his strings. He's not able to do what he wants to do because he's constantly performing for the benefit of other people. Oh, he's constantly performing for the benefit of other people's entertainment. They probably keep him where he is. He puts on a bit of a show. He's always putting on a bit of a performance. There's a degree of fakeness, if there's such a word, to his experience and his existence. He dances and performs for other people. When they pull his strings, he responds. Now, this is the kind of stuff that I was saying to him. And he's kind of open-mouthed, like, yeah, that's exactly what this is like. That's exactly what's going on. And I said, what makes it so great, of course, is you can master yourself for the whole thing, and there's a ready-made cross for you. And he kind of thought about that one and went, yeah, I think that's what this is. I have to sacrifice so much to keep up this performance. So what I'm doing is, by getting the basic structure of this guy's metaphor, in this situation like a puppet, I can just start to do what I call reading his fortune. I start to give him some concepts from the metaphor. I'm not really talking about him, I'm talking about the metaphor. And many of those things, not all, but many of those things will actually match his experience. Now, as a rapport builder, this is fantastic. As NLP practitioners, I would expect NLP practitioners to be able to match and pace the visual, auditory, kinesthetic components of the client's communication. Master practitioners, I would expect them to be able to pace and lead with the submodality distinctions of people's communication. With the metaphors of movement model, we can extend that even further, and not only are you matching and pacing on those things, you can match and pace the logical structure of people's metaphor and their reasoning and problem-solving ability. What this does, this puts you as the practitioner right inside the coping strategies and behavioral strategies of the person that you're working with. And it actually sounds like you're psychic. To anyone else listening, it just sounds like you're having a conversation using figures of speech. So the person that you're matching and leading with metaphor structure, it becomes an extraordinary experience. And only the person on the receiving end responds in that way, like, oh my God, it's like you're inside my head. That's one of the things I'm going to teach you on the metaphors of movement model, on the training. That's one of the key elements. If you want to know more, for training in the USA, go to www.andreasnlptrainings.com. For details of metaphors of movement generally and trainings worldwide, go to www.metaphorsofmovement.com. And if you need to know more, email me and I'll send you some details. I'll see you there.